let's implement task number 2, which is to configure ISIS. This is the lab topology on EVE-NG, and we have ISIS area 1 between PE3 and PE4 on interface Ethernet 100 on each router of them. So we have to configure ISIS on PE3 and PE4 and enable ISIS on the interfaces Ethernet 100 from both sides, from PE3 side and from PE4 side. And we have to enable loopback 0 on PE4 with ISIS, so that loopback 0 of PE4 can be advertised in ISIS and can be received on PE3. Remember that PE3 loopback 0 is already advertised in OSPF area 1, as in the script discussed before. Now it's time to configure ISIS. The ISIS process ID will be ID number 1, and the ISIS router must be configured with network address or network ID. The network ID or network address or network entity should be configured with 49.0001, which is the area ID, and the system ID, and finally 00. The system ID will be in this format, will be 0000.0000.000 and finally X, and X refers to the router number. So if we are on PE3, X will be 3. If we are in PE4, X will be 4. And this is the configuration of the ISIS on PE3. We will configure on the system view mode of the ISIS router, PE3 or PE4, ISIS 1. And under the ISIS view, we will add the ISIS router level. In the lab topology, we should have PE3 as level 1, 2, and we should have PE4 as level 1. So under ISIS 1 on PE3, we will configure ISIS level and level 1, 2, and on PE4, we will configure IS level as level 1. And on PE3, under ISIS 1, we will add the network entity 49.0001.0000.0003.00, and same on PE4, but the difference in the router number, in the last digit of the system ID. And we will enable the interface with ISIS. From PE3 side, Ethernet interface 100, and we will add command ISIS enable 1 under the interface. And on PE4, we will have two interfaces, 100 enabled with ISIS and loopback 0 enabled with ISIS. Finally, we will check that the ISIS peer is properly established between the two routers, and the ISIS routing table is already formed and can receive routes between PE3 and PE4. So let's copy the script now. I'll copy the script one by one. The first section is for PE3. Right click on it, copy, and go to PE3, system view immediately, and paste the copied script. And I'll copy the second section for PE4 ISIS configuration, and go to PE4 system view immediately, right click to paste the copied script for PE4. Now on PE3, I'll display ISIS peer to check that the ISIS peering is established, and I can receive the peer. This peer is system ID for PE4 and on interface Ethernet 100. We can use same on PE4, display ISIS peer, and we can receive PE3 on interface Ethernet 100 on PE4, and we can use command display ISIS route, and here we have the routing table of the ISIS on PE4, and it has the direct connected network between PE4 and PE3. We can check on that. Display IP interface brief, and this is the IP address 10.0.0.26, and this is the IP address, and the subnet mask is 24, and the loopback interface of PE4 is in the routing table. On PE3, display ISIS route, and I have on PE3 two levels. On PE4 just one level, which is ISIS level 1 forwarding table, and on PE3 I have two levels, level 1 and level 2, and network 10.0.0.24/30, which is the interconnect link between PE3 and PE4, is in two levels, level 1 and level 2. This is because PE3 is configured with ISIS level 1 too, and network 10.0.4.4, which is the loopback IP address of PE4, and it's only existing in the ISIS level 1 routing table. This is because this loopback interface is configured on PE4, and PE4 is only configured as level 1 router.